All right, everybody, you're welcome to the third video in this Python training. I'm going to show you how you're going to write our first program. Okay, uh, there are many ways you can write Python programs. You can directly write them into your you can write some programs and test them on what is called an IDLE. Most people just pronounce it as idle. It comes once you have installed Python. Okay, so you can now use your idle to test run codes. Now, if you want to get into your idle, you can go to your terminal. That's for Windows, for Linux and Mac users. And for those of us that are using Windows, you can go to your command prompt and you just type Python, and it automatically takes you into the idle. Now, for example, if I should say 4 plus 3 and tap enter, it will give me 7, because that's what we call a statement in Python. Okay, so Python is really simple to learn. This is some sort of statement. I would not want to say an expression. Okay, I'll call it a statement in Python. So what I just said to Python is add 4 to 3, and you can see it actually gives me 7. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to write a simple program, okay? A very simple program. Then we'll also go and write it on Visual Studio Code and run it. Now, Visual Studio Code is what we will call an IDE, okay? It's more like an IDE, right? Well, most times people call it a text editor. Now, Visual Studio is much more powerful than just any text editor, because when you incorporate plugins and certain things, it can do amazing things. All right, so most times we just don't want to see like a text editor. But what we mean by an IDE, it stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay, so it allows you to build everything within one particular software program. So from version controlling to compiling to debugging to code linting, IntelliSense, and so many things that have been added to these IDEs or text editors, make them very powerful, and it helps developers to write their programs real fast, real quick, and without problems. Okay, so for this, there's a regular convention that we write a program called Hello World for anyone that is learning any programming language. Now, for different programming languages, there are different ways. There are different ways to write. It's like we call it syntax. Okay, every language has its own syntax. Python has its syntax. There are other languages like Java. Java has its syntax. We have C Sharp. We have C++. We have C, Objective C, Swift, JavaScript, PHP. There are millions of programming languages out there that can do different things, and they have different syntaxes, and sometimes the syntax might actually look the same. Like if for those of us that have some experience with programming, Java and C Sharp, they have some very close they look alike. C++ as well. So you see, it's just like JavaScript. It has some it looks like some other language somewhere. We have TypeScript, and there are just so many of them. So the syntax for printing something to what we call the console. Now, this terminal here that you see is what we will call the console. Okay, this terminal is what we call the console. So to print something to the console, okay, there is a syntax for it in Python. So what I'm going to say print, and I'm going to pass in what we'll call we will say hello, okay, world. Now I will put this in a single quote, and I will close this, and I will press my enter, and you find out that it writes exactly hello world for me. Okay, so everything has a syntax. Now let me open another terminal. If I say something like echo, okay, hello world, all right, and I tap enter, it will write this hello world for me. All right, now what I just did on this other part, this echo, is actually a command, a Linux command for outputting something to the console. Okay, outputting something to the console. So there are different syntaxes, but I don't want to take you into all that. So I said print hello world. So this print is like a command, okay? It's a command for writing output to the console. Okay, so what we have just done here, we have written what we'll call the hello world program. Is a beginner's program, is the crux of programming. Any programming language that is being taught, the first syntax that is introduced is always the hello world program. So right now we have printed some text, okay, and this text is the hello world. And if you notice, we pass this hello world into single quotes, meaning that it is a text character, okay. So as time goes on, you will know what they are called, you will know how to access them, you will know how to operate on them, and from there we will continue. You will get to your expertise in Python, and from there we'll move on to some wonderful things, machine learning. You can start building robots and all that stuff, but it all begins with learning the core, the simplest thing, as writing the hello world program. All right, so now we've written this on the idle. Okay, so now why do we this looks boring? And if I actually do a shift C, okay, if I should interrupt that, and I want to come out of that, I'll just do an exit, okay, and I'm out of there. Now coming out of there, I don't, if I close this, my hello world program is no longer there because I've not actually saved it. I was writing it directly into the Python interpreter, and the Python interpreter was interpreting it for me. Okay, so we will build what we call script. It's better to write Python scripts, okay, and the best way, the best format, so that you don't get too stressed out trying to learn a particular language, and you decide, I'm not going to learn this language again, it's just too complicated, it's just too tiring or boring, or whatever word you want to use. That's why you have a text editor or an IDE. Okay, so I'll head over to my Visual Studio Code, and I'm just going to expand this, make it bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open a folder where I'll be putting most of my things. Don't look at my file system, you're going to see a whole lot of things, and I don't want you to think, oh, pen testing and ethical hacking and all the rest of the things that you have on my file system. Don't even look at it. So what we are going to do is we are going to create we're going to open a folder where we are going to put most of our script. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my file system, right on the desktop. I'm going to create a new folder. I'll call it Python training with, all right, DSN_Calabar. And at the end of the day, whatever script that we write will be here, and I will zip it up and load it on a Google Drive, and you can download the script and also go through the source code as time goes on. I also think what I'll do is send some of them to GitHub, and from there you can also get them. So I'm going to open that particular folder. I believe it should appear here by now. So I'll just go to the desktop, and that will be okay with me. So whatever happens is we have Python training. All right, so I'm going to create, this is how you do it. You see a new file here. All right, so I'm going to type, I'm going to create a file, and I'm going to call it hello.py. okay, so now why do I have to add .py? okay, it's a file extension that tells the computer system that this file that I'm creating is a Python file. So whenever I want to run it, whenever I want to use it, I want you to go ahead and open it as a Python file. Send for the Python interpreter to interpret the statement or the instructions that I have given in this file. Okay, so I'll just say hello.py. all right, and if you look, it actually changes Visual Studio Code. Although I have JavaScript, I have many other languages installed on it, but you see this Python symbol automatically shows. If I change this to JS, it changes to JS. If I change this to Java, it changes to J. If I change it to CPP, it changes to C++. If I change it to C#, all right, If I change it to C, it gives you C. It gives you a whole lot of things. So when I say hello.py, it knows that I'm writing a Python file. Okay, so we're just going to tap enter, and we have our Python file. And I can say print, and I'm still going to do the same thing, and I'll do hello. All right, I'll do hello world. Okay, so you see it automatically gives me some options. That's the beauty of most of these IDEs, okay, or text editors. They have what we call intelligence. Most times they make suggestions of the things that they think you should be doing, and most times they are always correct. So it's already giving me a list of methods that I could use and all those things. Get out of here. So this is what we have. So if I should run this script at the moment, this is run. You see it says run Python file in terminal. So I'll just run it, and you see after running the whole thing, it prints my hello world. If you look at where my cursor is, it prints my hello world. Now you might think it's almost the same thing with the idle, but the difference is as your lines of code get more and more and more, the idle is no longer sufficient or good enough for code maintenance and debugging. Okay, so the best thing to do, or the best environment to use for Python programming, is to use either an IDE. We have some IDEs like PyCharm, we have Spider, we have Jupyter Notebook, we have Anaconda packages. Now these we will come into them when we need them, but for the moment I want you to use Visual Studio Code so that it can help you. I can make this bigger by pressing Ctrl plus. I can reduce it by pressing Ctrl minus. It has a lot of functionalities. It has extensions that you can use that will help your developing life very easy. So we've just written a Python script called hello.py, and what that program just does is to print hello world, or saying hello. We can just change it to hello. I am learning. I am learning Python. All right, so if I should run this again, you see here, hello, I am learning Python. So I believe that you've grabbed the concept of writing your output to the console or to the terminal. Okay, and that's the beginning of programming. Once you know how to print output, you will gradually understand the basics of what it means to actually um, write programs, and from there you will understand the syntax of the language that you are learning. So I'll see you in the next video as we come up with something that is very, very important. We'll be talking about data types and variables. Okay, so see you in the next video. I hope you prepare your Visual Studio Code, or you can use their other IDEs like Atom. You can use Sublime Text. You can use IDEs like PyCharm, and there are so many out there. Just Google them out, find the best that's very good for you, and let's get coding in the next training. All right, so see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to DSN Calabar and get your videos. Thank you.